On the internet, you can find a game for any taste. Huge maps, beautiful graphics, endless freedom. But let's be honest, we were truly happy back in childhood in that pixel world. Like a cat that loves a cardboard box, I love Gothic. This game is connected to my first real struggles in games and to that feeling when you actually want to overcome them. And I cannot even explain how happy I am to hear these words again.
Welcome to the colony.
Hello everyone and welcome to this video. We probably don't know each other, but it doesn't matter if you have played Gothic before or not. I will try to make this story interesting for everyone because there is a lot to talk about. I waited for this game for a very long time, maybe even too long. The story of the remake didn't start with a full game. It started as an experiment. In December 2019, Alkimia Interactive released Gothic playable teaser, a prototype to see how fans would react. And that was a risky move because Gothic fans are not exactly the softest audience. But many of us liked the idea. There were a lot of positive reactions and people really wanted to play a remake, but with one big condition: make it as close to the original Gothic as possible. And I think the developers understood that very well. Wait, can it be? This is actually the old camp. Wow. Since this video will not have story spoilers, I will try to explain why you should ever care about Gothic. Even though the world of this game is not very big, it gives you a rare kind of freedom. At the beginning, you're a nameless prisoner. You're thrown into the barrier and that's it. From that moment you start as an absolute nobody. But later, you can become an archer who clears groups of enemies, a huge strong warrior with a two-handed weapon, or a mage who shoots fire, ice, and so on. And that is only the beginning. But even that is not the main thing. The world is small by modern standards, but it feels alive. Every character has their own reason to be there. They have their daily routine. When it rains, they stand under roofs. During the day they work, drink beer, do their own things, and simply live their lives inside the colony. And you, the main character, want to escape from this place, but escaping is not easy. The mages created the barrier, so prisoners couldn't leave the colony and would keep mining magical ore for King Robar. This ore is needed for the paladins who are fighting against the orcs with ore weapons. So, as you can understand, ore is very valuable, and it became the main currency inside the colony. But something went wrong. The barrier became much bigger than planned. Because of that, the mages, the guards, and the prisoners all became trapped inside it. You can enter the barrier, but you cannot leave it. Because of this, the strongest prisoners killed the guards, gave the king an ultimatum, and now they get whatever they want in exchange for ore. Women, wine, grapes, and all the other nice parts of life. But a lot of men in one place will not just obey one person and peacefully mine shiny rocks forever. So the colony split into camps. There are three main camps in the game. The old camp is ruled by Gomez, the strongest prisoner and the leader of the ore barons. They love ore, and they don't like anything that gets in the way of mining it. The new camp is where people went when they didn't want to obey Gomez. The water mages also joined them. They have a different plan. Collect a huge pile of ore and try to blow it up, hoping that the blast will destroy the barrier. And then there is a swamp camp. These people collect swamp weed, make joints from it, smoke it, sell it, and pray to the sleeper. They believe this god will free them. In the game you're free to choose any of these camps. And honestly, tell me which camp you picked and I will tell you who you are. You can really understand a person's personality from this choice. Do you like order and power? Do you want to prove your strengths by force? Or do you want just smoke in the swamp and eat for free? With age, I started to understand that the last option is not actually that bad. Write in the comments which camp you choose. And now, when the remake is finally out, the main question is not, does it look good? The real question is this still Gothic? The short answer is yes. But it's not a soulless copy. It is a remake that tries to explain and expand things that back in 2001 often existed only in our imagination. The map was expanded in many places. The developers added a lot of new paths and side areas, and most of them make sense in the lore. For example, there is a small post right next to the exchange zone. And it makes sense, because guards finally have a place to sleep. On the road you meet hunters, miners, workers, and small scenes of daily life. A path that was often just an empty road in the original now feels like a real part of the colony. And that is important, because the road from the old mine is basically the only main road there. In the original, it was almost always empty. Now, it feels alive. There are many moments like this, and it is great. The original Gothic world was dark, rough, and sometimes empty between important places. It often left you completely alone. The new Gothic gives you a new way to feel the colony, and it explains many small things that the developers added. Any downsides to this? I think yes. As someone who has around 600 hours in the original Gothic, the Hornet quest in the swamp was honestly painful for me. I don't wanna lie, I was looking for them for about 3 hours. And even if we forget about the Hornets, the novices are spread around the swamp in a very funny way. Just compare this low poly masterpiece, where you can see everyone clearly, with this. And of course, I came there at night when visibility was basically zero. And while I'm talking about night, I almost forgot to mention something. You can sleep only in your own bed. I mean, only in the place where you're registered, let's say. In the old camp, it is the small hut near the arena. In the new camp, it is the hut you need to take from Shrike. And by the way, it is not as easy as it used to be. In the swamp camp, the only sleeping place I found was near the Templars area. I found it only in the middle of the game because I had no real reason to go there before. Of course, there is also Kane's hut, but you can sleep there only after certain events. So, if you sleep in someone else's bed, people will get very upset. Even in real life, if a homeless person slept in your bed, you probably wouldn't hit him in the head with a club. But here, well, sorry my friend. And there are many small details like this. For example, sleep doesn't restore your HP and mana every single time anymore. Instead, after some time passes while you run, jump, mine ore and do your own business, you get a rest bonus that restores your HP. This was made so you cannot abuse sleep as a free healing button. The game pushes you to eat meat, learn soup recipes, learn alchemy and make potions. So yes, in many ways the game became harder, and honestly, it makes sense. The one mechanic that many people had problems was lockpicking. People really hated it, and I can understand why. Pressing left and right, remembering the combination, and then reloading the game was much easier, right? But now it became a small IQ test. To be fair, if you spent 10 learning points on lockpicking, it becomes much easier. Lockpicks are not that rare, and there are not too many real hard locks. In simple words, you have several plates. Each plate can move and change the position of one of the keyholes. There are two types of plates. Some move only themselves. These are the easy ones. Others move other plates too, either in the same direction or in the opposite direction. Personally, I first checked what each plate does, and then use simple logic to find the right combination. If you really cannot take it anymore but you still want to open chests, there is a website for this. I will leave it in the description. Honestly, if you understand how lockpicking works on that website, I think it will become easier for you in the game too. Don't feel bad about spending 10 points on lockpicking. But besides pain, the developers also gave us joy, and I also recommend spending points on this. The first and most important one is climbing. This is a new mechanic. There are many places where you can climb, and you can find extra content, secret areas and tasty loot. And good loot is never useless. A novice near the swamp camp teaches you this skill. In simple words, if you are looking at the temple, go to the right close to the rock. That is where you can learn it, on top of the old handmade moves from the original game. Now there are places where you can simply climb on the top, and it feels fresh. You can argue with me, but I ignored underwater breathing. You can learn it from Homer in the new camp, and it lets you stay underwater longer. Personally, I don't like swimming underwater, but this skill also gives you extra content, chests and small useful things. So if you want that, go to Homer. But there is one more thing. Something you don't need to spend learning points on. Something that will make you happy no matter how old you are. A ridable scavenger. Alkimia Interactive probably thought everything genius is simple. Why make players run back and forth forever when you can give them a mount? And not just any mount. You can ride it, jump with it, and move across the map at crazy speed. This is what we needed even in the original. And it is absolutely worth 5 pieces of herb which you can collect in the lake near the entrance to the new camp, and wolf skins which you can get with the skinning skill. In general, there is a lot of extra content. And the most surprising thing, that almost all of it fits the game. It really went beyond my expectations. But what is one of the most important things in an RPG? The combat system. In the original, combat was rough and clunky, but it had its own charm. When I first saw the new system, I got a little scared. I thought the whole thing would be built around dodges and rolls, but no. Weapon hits feel really good. I was happy to see that the weight and speed of a hammer, sword and club are completely different. And that is even before we start talking about two-handed weapons. We have blocks that, by the way, can now block not only weapon attacks, but also attacks from any monster, dodges, and if you can improve acrobatics, you can even roll. There are attack combinations, weak attacks, strong attacks, overhead attacks, and low attacks. There are more options now, and blocking enemies became easier. When I found out that you can block animal attacks too, I thought the game would become too easy, until I meet my first shadow beast. Heavy monsters and bosses are actually quite interesting now. They have different attacks, and they can really punish you. During my gameplay, I probably died even more often than in the original Gothic, and this was on normal difficulty. So no, it will not be boring. Ranged weapons are also much better now, and I personally love them. In the original, you didn't really aim with a bow or crossbow, and without skill upgrades, you could stand closer than 5 meters and still miss, wasting arrows for nothing. In the remake, you can hit targets with a bow even at level 0, but it is harder. The more you improve your bow or crossbow skill, the faster you draw the string, and the straighter and better the arrow flies. I had a lot of fun playing as an archer. About magic, I'll be honest. I didn't play as a full mage. Of course I used runes and scrolls, but for me magic truly opened up only in Gothic 2. So, if you have something to add about magic in the remake, write it in the comments. I will read it with a pleasure. In simple words, the combat is close to the original in spirit, but adapted to a more modern game format, with its own interesting details. I didn't really find any big problems with it. Weapons feel good. The visual progress of your fighting skill is there. You go from a village idiot swinging a rusty sword to an inexperienced warrior who handles a long two-handed sword with style. That feeling is still here, and that is what matters most. When you praise a game too much, it is easy to forget that it also has problems. And yes, there are problems. The first one is bugs. I will not focus on this too much because compared to something like Stalker 2, you could say there are almost no bugs at all. But still, a few times I saw textures too close, I think, especially when climbing walls. There were also small freezes in some areas, probably because of the very dense plants in certain places. Yeah, of course, forest and swamps should feel more full than in the original Gothic, but for me, sometimes there were just too much plants, and my PC agreed with me. But besides graphics, there is one more thing. Sadly, this part will have a small spoiler, so if you have not finished the game yet and plan to play it, skip it to the next timestamp. Sorry. The attack on the old camp. I wanted this quest so badly. When I saw that some quests were changed and new quests were added, I played the game while waiting for this big cool attack. But sadly, there was no such quest. And besides that, the fight in Gomez Castle felt strange. Firstly, they removed the mechanic of permanent human death. Because of that, you have to finish every guard manually. And doing that in the middle of a fight is not very comfortable. Also, Taurus says he will not get involved, but then he gets involved. And remember Stone, the blacksmith Gomez locked in prison? If you don't go down into the dungeon by yourself and talk to him without a quest, you will not get any quest. You will not be able to improve ore armor, and you can miss a pretty important character. To me, this felt very strange and not very logical. They could have used Taurus for this, or Darien from the swamp camp, because it turns out that they know each other. There were many ways to make a proper Save Stone quest, but it wasn't there, and that made me a little sad. Let's move to the most positive parts of the remake. I have to admit it, the orcs were never shown better than in this remake. In the original, the orc camp was basically a place where you could test your strength near the end of the game. You could clear it with a bow with a huge magic skills, or like a real man with a two-handed weapon up close, fighting 2 or 3 orcs at the same time. But the developers handled it differently this time. You can learn the orc language. You can learn how to use orc weapons, and it is even a separate two-handed weapon skill. This fixed one of the problems of the original game, where orc weapons were mostly useless. They were cheap, heavy, clumsy, and not really worth using. Now you can speak with orcs in their own language. You can learn more about them, their traditions, and their situation with the sleeper. I know you have probably heard this many times already, but besides that, we also get many extra quests and new locations. If you have already played Gothic many times, this will feel like fresh air. Depending on your camp, you get several quests that are well made and interesting. There are also new general quests and new places to explore. And this is where the remake adds new colors to Gothic. So, did the developers succeed with the remake? Yes, absolutely yes. If I could buy this game again, I would buy it again. If there was a Gothic 2 remake, I would pay twice as much. I got a huge amount of positive emotions, new content, a scavenger I can ride, and a fresh look from people who clearly played the original game and understood how important it is to respect its lore. And for me, this is the most important sign. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time, beyond the barrier, my friends.